Thank you very much. I think we feel truly honored to be the host of the first plenary panel discussion of this conference. According to the and next, I'm going to actually turn to Mr. Todd Israel. And when I sit next to you, I do feel, and I saw your background, I do feel like I'm sitting next to Bill Gates. Because if you see Mr. Dollinger's background, he started his first business when in high school, right, at 15 years old. And he already actually sold his business when he entered into college. And in college, he started another business. And then from that time on, and all the businesses, actually innovation ideas, and everything actually has snowballed to today. Todd right now is CEO and chairman of the Trendlines Group, as well as chairman of Misgaf Venture Accelerator. So now, Todd.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be here this morning. This morning, for me, it combines two of my great interests, which is international business and innovation. I want to thank the organizers of the conference for inviting me to join you today. And I particularly want to thank Mr. Ronald Waldman and Mr. Daniel Oleski for having introduced me to the conference and giving me this opportunity to meet many of you. I stand here today as a visitor in China, clearly a great nation, a great world power, and I'm here today as a citizen and a business person, and admittedly from a smaller country, although still, in the world of innovation, I believe, a great power. The state of Israel is 8 million people, so we're about 1/3 the size of the city of Beijing, so a little smaller than China. I too would have liked to have shown a map, but if I overlaid Israel on top of a map of China, you wouldn't have been able to find it. So we'll go without the map for today. Our power in Israel does not come from size, it does not come from minerals, it does not come from oil. It comes from our people, and a culture of innovation, and a culture of risk-taking. I'm going to talk to you about that just a little bit this morning. Tomorrow, we'll have a session on Sino-Israel cooperation, I believe at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I invite you to join us there. I'll be looking for each and every one of you to be there tomorrow afternoon. And there, I'll talk more about my company, Trendlines, and there'll be more presenters talking about Israel and opportunities for cooperation between Israel and China. A few comments about Israel. Again, natural resources, people. We are a very nice little country in a very tough little neighborhood. We are surrounded by other countries with which we don't have, shall we say, high levels of cooperation. So we look abroad, we constantly look abroad, and there we find our opportunities. We do not start businesses in Israel where we do not think from the first day about export opportunities and about partnering. We have an economy that, while small, most assuredly compared to China, is stable and continues to grow. We've weathered the recent economic crisis quite well. Very quickly about Trendlines, and I'll talk about our company more tomorrow. We own 2 Israeli government licensed business incubators. We invest in 2 areas. We invest in medical technologies and we invest in agricultural technologies. Additionally, we have a 3rd business unit that we created a few years ago, which calls upon the best of Israeli innovation. We have an in-house invention factory. Our staff, our employees invent products, invent new technologies for the purpose of our creating new companies from these technologies and for our transferring technologies to multinational corporations. This has been a great success for us, drawing upon the best of Israeli invention. Now, we are, as an organization and culturally, very hands-on investors at Trendlines. Unlike most incubators, we have a relatively large staff. In addition to our part-time staff members and consultants, we have a full-time staff of more than 30 people who are business development people, who act as investment bankers, who work with our companies on technology development as well. We are very hands-on investors. Now, that environment that we are in, this special environment of the state of Israel, as I said, it's a bit of a difficult neighborhood. And sometimes through these challenges, through these extreme challenges, you learn to be very independent. You learn to be very focused on what you need to achieve. In Israel, we have, for a small country, a strong military. And it's a military that focused on technology. When it comes to the arenas of signal acquisition and signal processing, Israel is very strong. And this is what led to the creation of a medical device industry in Israel. A medical device industry that, as you look to innovation, is second to none in the world. Again, the environment, who we are. Tremendous number per capita of engineers and scientists. We spend more money on commercial R&D in Israel than any country in the world. We are the first in startups per capita. We're the second in nominal numbers, not per capita, but in actual dollars. We're second in venture capital worldwide. Only the U.S. has more venture capital available than the tiny state of Israel. And that speaks directly to the number of startups we have and growing those companies. As I mentioned, defense technologies commercialization has presented critical opportunity for Israel. It is the neighborhood and it is the people that make us what we are. And we're a young nation. This month, the modern state of Israel celebrated its 65th anniversary. We're an ancient people with a young nation. Now, I want to recommend to all of you a book, Startup Nation. If you want to know a bit about Israel and a great read, Startup Nation. I don't know if it's been translated into Chinese. It has been translated into many languages. It tells the story of the developments of high tech in Israel. I'd like to make a few quick comments about public policy, since we are, after all, the Technology Transfer Conference here. The state of Israel, the government of Israel, in response to the needs of growing a young state, established a business incubator system and has provided extensive R&D funding to Israeli companies. These have been great generators of jobs, and it has caused whole new industries to be created in Israel. These policies, which were intended to really focus on immigrant absorption and also dealing with the diaspora community. Many Israelis and Jews who live outside the state of Israel have brought great success, and Israel has focused on international partnerships. In fact, you can get a flavor for what we do internationally just by looking at the panel here. Mr. Mann's firm represented my firm in a transaction last year. The most important conference on business incubation in the world is the NBIA. I had the privilege of attending that conference. And the gentleman from Hungary has visited both of our incubation facilities in Israel, and I think has become a friend of our firm. And I've been to Canada. So here, all of us together in Beijing, we see that there's much opportunity for partnering. Now, I show you this slide because I want to show you what correct public policy can achieve. And if you'll follow me here, you'll see that the lower line on this chart represents investment by the state of Israel in business incubation. And what you see is a spend that's in the range of $50 million a year, and you have a chart here that tracks almost 20 years. Today, it's updated. You're looking at a number of about $600 million that the state of Israel has spent on business incubation. But now follow the red line. What you see is at the very beginning, there is no private investment in these companies. There's no private look at these opportunities. But as the business incubation program in Israel began to bear fruit, capital began to come into these companies. And we wind up with a chart that looks like the chart that everyone who's ever wanted an investment from you has shown you. It starts to look like that hockey stick chart, where the amount of foreign capital as opposed to government capital is enormously outstripped. There has now been almost $4 billion invested in Israeli companies that have gone through the business incubation program that was created by the State of Israel. This is an example of public policy and how public policy can work. Thank you very much.